Here we are again, my darlings. And, well, we continue to see crime, don't we? We just continue to see it. But there's something about Michael Proctor that I want to go in another direction with. And I believe that this is much bigger than what we anticipate. And if you hear some voices in the background, that's my son. No paranormal. Well, not now anyway. So here we are, my darlings. Thanks for joining me because we are here. Hello, everyone. I am Lady Zelda. Today is Tuesday, October 28th of 2025. I want to talk to you about Michael Proctor and D.A. Morrisy. Now, I know many of you might have seen this, and I think that if you go back, you can take a look at it. I've seen the photographs, I've seen the evidence, but this is a good chance for you to do a little research as well. I'm not going to put them up here because that's not what this channel is about, not right now anyway. But what I saw was right after Karen's first trial, Michael Morrissy's car was right outside of Michael Proctor, D.A. Morrisy. Did I say Michael? Maybe it is Michael. D.A. Morrisy, Meatball, was right outside of Proctor's house on watch more than once. And it was after Michael Proctor got fired from the MSP. So what was the DA doing there? I mean, Proctor worked for that DA's office, but to me, isn't that one of your lead investigators gets fired and you're going to their home? I mean, that doesn't feel right. So what I want to ask now, is that connection with Michael Morrissy bigger than what we anticipate? And where was Michael Proctor getting enough money? I'm sure he was getting something, but what about money? Word on the street, Michael Proctor has moved out of the marital home. Okay, fine. Those things happen, but I'm not concerned about that. I want to know, D.A. Morrisy, what's happening with D.A. Morrisy, Meatball Morrisy? So let's get started. I've got a lot of friends on the table, and I got more waiting in the wings. House of Zelda, Piotnik, Old Style of Norman, Kipper, Fire Element, Cartomancy. Let's go, right? That's how I figure. I just want to get the perspective. We're going to start by, I'm going to give these House of Zelda cards a few turns. What do you see in the cloth? What energy do you see? Now, while I'm shuffling, I'm not a doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. I am not a law enforcement officer. I'm not a medical professional. I am a card reader. That card came out right there, just like that. We're going to take that. And I read energy. I don't cast. I don't conjure. And that's what it's about. I read the energies only. I'm not asking anyone to come in. I read the vibes. I read the vibes. This first card, a plan. So now I want information about Morrissy and Proctor relationship. What were those visits all about? Making a plan? Because I believe personally in my heart, not necessarily fact, but personally I believe that Morrissy was trying to do some damage control. Because at this point, that's one thing about a leader. If you're on a right path or if you're on a shadow path. In my heart, in my perspective, I believe that All of them are bad actors. All of them have a shadow path more than anyone else. So I believe that Michael Proctor was the throwaway of the group so far, and Higgy Baby is the same, but Higgy Baby is in a different category than Proctor. Higgy Baby didn't work for D.A. Morrisy. So was Proctor the puppet? He was the throwaway for the Bad Actors Guild from 34 Fairview et al. But what about the DA's office? Because we're going to see a lot of trash coming off of that phone. And you, my friends, are going to gasp. Because how can one person organize and be like this? Well, you know, bad behavior only happens when it is allowed. That means there was no correction. There was no putting Proctor in his place when he was saying, oh, this is about this one, or this is about this one, or this and that and the other thing. Wrong, wrong, wrong. It is all about character, integrity. And when you take that type of an oath, a sworn oath as Proctor, and even D.A. Morrissey had to take to protect and serve, you're put on a higher standard. But who was allowing this standard to be lowered? Because Proctor's boss wasn't saying anything. Nobody else was saying anything. It was just kind of a free-for-all, and Michael was full of himself, Proctor, and he was just going with the flow. He felt he was doing his job and a good job and whatever. But we're going to see. Was he a puppet? Seek more knowledge. Time is needed. Oh yeah, because there's more coming out. And we're going to be seeking that stolen. You know, I think there's going to be an implication of some, could it possibly be criminal activity? Could it be? Travel. And I feel that we're going to see that as well, where he had traveled. Proctor isn't the brightest tool in the shed, in my opinion. And he has a burning desire to get out of this. And I want you to watch, okay? I want you to watch. Because someone who is in a predicament that Proctor is in, desperation becomes a dangerous faction of this whole equation. Remember, watch anyone who is desperate. This, Michael, is the same as a wild animal being backed into a corner. He is going to come out at some point, and do not take it as singing, because he knows the ramifications right now of singing, because you have to have a benefit of singing. First of all, you have to know something factually. I believe that there's definitely, in my opinion, there's definitely a lot of criminal activity, possibly. And there's a lot of other things that we are going to see on his phone. Implications. We're going to see him digging deeper. But now, this is more than I'm sorry, this was bad behavior, can heal. And what we are looking at now is self-implication. And when someone doesn't know how to get out of it, keep watching. Let's ask the Kipper. What See, I think Proctor had this burning desire to be this trooper that is, going to go down in infamy. He is all right, but unfortunately, not in the way he thought. You're going to see many people leaving him, and even those who stood by him will no longer be standing by him. And that includes family. Because on a daily basis, Proctor is being asked 4 words from family and friends. Are you ready? What will you do? What will you do? Proctor doesn't have an answer. And his mind is going to the deep, dark dungeons of the HE double hockey sticks. That is Officer John O'Keefe. Now, this whole thing, he was a bad actor from 2012. 2012 is when he started with the MSP. 2013 is how far back they went with his texts. Volumes. Encyclopedias of what not to do. But it was the Karen Reed case with Officer John O'Keefe that brought all of this to life. I will never be convinced that the energy of John O'Keefe had nothing to do with bringing this forward so journalists and other people could grab this information and bring it to light. That is the gift. And the occupation, based on 34 Fairview Road, the occupation was Proctor, but also DA. This card, I always feel, is the DA or the DA's office. This will be the gift that keeps giving for a long time. We've just got started. Mature woman. Oh yeah, there's a woman who's going to be dragged into this. Is this Helena Rafferty? Is this another woman that is involved? Oh, keep watch. Keep watch, my darling, because I'm going to tell you what now. Talk about scatter. Expect. There's an expectation here. Expect. And look who shows up, and that is Karen. The mature man. Right there. Now, why does she show up and why does John? Well, first of all, that's fresh on our memories. And yes, there's many other cases. There's Anna Walsh, there's I believe Sandra Birchmore. I believe there's other cases of other people, men, women, children, that are on that phone. He said something in the testimony that has always bothered me. Remember when he said, "No nudes now"? Well, forgive me for saying this, but he said something sort of kind of about a balloon knot. I want you to think about this. He saw something that would make him say that. Now, of course, we kind of figure out what we know. But I want you to take that further and think more. I think more. There's more to that. There's more. If you watch Proctor while he's on the stand testifying, if you watch that, he's got some It's like the telltale heart of Edgar Allan Poe. The telltale heart. The telltale heart. He has these little indicators, clearing his throat, blinking a lot, turning his head a certain way to look at the jury. He's trying to keep his chin down. Why? Because sometimes when you're in a nervous position, if you hold your head upright, you will shake. Official person, that is him. The community is outraged. The courtship is his dedication. I think there's some of this on his phone too. I mean, at this point, would it surprise any of us? No. Poverty, this is exactly where he is headed. This is not, he's not going to have a, he's going to have a hard time starting over. But I'm also going to tell you about the judicial, did I say that right? The justice system there. They're not going to want to put him in a lockup. They're not going to want to do that. But if he has a lot of these things on his phone, they have to. Will they? I'm concerned about that because you know how they protect their own. And look at Kelsey Fitzsimmons. She did nothing and she's in lockup. What about Proctor? I want you to know that this gauntlet is and will be dropping at any moment. Think about that. Let's take a couple of cards from this Lenormand deck. But Proctor, right here. This was what's his face? Proctor. I meant Morrissey. Proctor. And can I tell you this? In the codex system, Proctor was a master number of 22. He was the builder, the architect. The number 5 is grace, but it's also a V, numerical V, which is also translates to a victory. Was this a victory through grace? Let's say this, did Morrisy give Proctor the grace? What does that mean? Latitude in this regard. Did Morrisy give Proctor the grace? The grace period means latitude. To just continue on because Morrisy thought he was a producer, so you know what? You have to take the good with the bad. But this is going to fall back on Morrisy. What was Morrisy doing at Proctor's house? Making a plan. And my darlings, the moon card is one Karen Reed. She's a Pisces. The 8 of Hearts is all about making some sacrifices, and Karen certainly did. And this dude forced her. But look at this. 32 is a number 5. Now, some of you are saying, Zelda, I'm just getting so confused. All the numbers on the cards and all the numbers in numerology. We don't have to look at these numbers. The numbers on the cards basically tells you the number placement of the card in the deck, because they start at number 1 and they end at a particular number as well. But this is also telling me night and day. Keep watch, keep watch, keep watch, because there's some intuition. But this is a vibe. And there's the rider with the 9 of Hearts. The mountain. Boy, that mountain comes out a lot. And the tree card with the number 5. Are you seeing what I'm seeing on the bottom of the deck, the heart? Oh, yeah, he would love for this to go away. The cloud. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I hope you all are giggling. It gives me chills. The King of Clubs. That's someone who is the head of things. I'm going to also say that is the CW, the DA's office. But look, here's the coffin, and it's not only John. But John is where they messed up royalty, and it became royally, and it became public. The coffin is an abrupt end in many ways. It was an abrupt end to John's life, and it is abrupt end to Proctor's career, and I believe it will be an abrupt end to Morrisy and that entire office come FBI come. This writer is coming to bring an announcement, but it's telling us that we are on the right track because it is the 9 of Hearts. And what does the 9 of Hearts mean? Well, it's the wish come true, the dreams fulfilled, the heart's desire. And being beside the moon card tells us that, yes, our intuition is going in the right direction. But again, with this mountain card, it tells me that the DA's office was taking risks. How do I know that? Well, this is the 8 of clubs. And there's the 21. We don't have to look at that. However, it comes into a number 3. No matter what they do, there's a divine power over this. They're not going to get away with anything. But this mountain card tells me that this is a hard mountain to climb, but there was a risk, and it was a calculated risk, and a risk that they agreed to take. Who is they? Well, it's the DA's office, and who is above the DA, and who the DA has around him, etc., etc. The mountain is something that you have to overcome. And with that calculated risk, which is a gamble, not a casino gamble, but it's a gamble. But with that calculated risk comes perhaps small wins. But a small win can fall definitely apart. So every time Proctor put his little pause on something, in my opinion, based on the facts that we have from the phone and the facts from the trial and the facts from all these other cases that he had his little fingers dipped into, it is my opinion that they were taking latitude and grace. Because now look what's on the cloud. And this King of Clubs is this man. The fish. Now the fish is not a Pisces. The fish is it's an odd card, I'm going to tell you this, but the fish can translate into this. When a fish swims, they can navigate. They are what's called mutable. They can adjust to an environment. They can swim upstream, downstream. They can swim to the side. They can actually jump over logs and rocks. They can go under. They can burrow themselves. They can live for a little while outside of water. But flying fish is all about mutable, and look at the number, 34, hello. All about mutable communications. Communications, mutable. Well, you want to change your mind about something? Okay. You want to change the rules about something with Lolly? Okay, sure. Does Lolly want to forget about the paperwork that Proctor has given him in the Miles King? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, we'll just make up our own rules. The tree means that they are rooted into this way of thinking, living, being. Again, a number 5. Living, victory through grace, latitude, grace periods. And yet we have the 6 of hearts, 7 of hearts there, which is an accomplishment, long life accomplishment. That tree, digging in, being rooted. But you know what I think about this tree? DNA. Why do I think about DNA when it comes to a tree? Well, we're going to talk about genealogy. What's in genealogy? How do you figure that out? Well, there's DNA. And I believe that as time goes on, we're going to see references to DNA, perhaps even in or around or on John O'Keefe. Think of the genealogy, the tree, the breakdown, the lineage, the downline of the DA's office. Let's get out a couple of these cards. Yeah, this is long. I'm sorry, but we get to talking. Some money. Okay. Okay. That is Proctor. That is Proctor. And this card concerns me because sometimes what desperate people do, and I hope not for the kids' sake. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong for his kids' sake. Because I'm going to tell you what's going through Proctor's mind right now. Matthew Farwell. Matthew Farwell will not see that baby grow up. Not on the outside. He knows it's over. It's done. And he thinks about that. He thinks about the falseness and a desire. He wishes he had some money so he could just flee the scene and the falseness that comes along with it. Oh, man. I hate seeing that stuff. I'm not predicting it, please, by any stretch of the imagination. But would you be surprised? I hope not. I hope not. But some people, including the DA, may feel that's the ticket. 9 of Diamonds. My darling, and yeah, this right here is a description of Proctor. But this is Proctor's wife. This is Proctor's family. On the bottom of the deck is 6 of Clubs, money worries, concern, upset. Where's the money going to come from? A need for caution, because now when they never had to worry about where to spend money, now they have to worry about where they're even going to get money. The best thing for his wife, if they have separated, this would be the only way she would get any type of assistance. He's not hireable. And nobody is going to really touch him. He's a liability. But my darlings, I want to tell you about this card right here. That is a sign of depression. It's also the sign of prison. And quite frankly, if it comes down to it, I don't see Proctor going to prison. If he knows, if he smells that there's a jail thing coming, I don't know what will happen. I'm going to tell you that. Let me, last but not least, my grandmother's cards. No witch here. Cauldron, maybe a cup of coffee, many cats. Let's see. So just want you to know, I'm not predicting that sort of thing, but I'm going to tell you why I believe it's coming out, because this is making everyone sick, including himself. And that thought has gone over and through his head. All the while, D.A. Morrisy will turn his back on him. He will turn his back on him because it'll be up to Morrisy to press any type of charges. You know what happened when he refused to do that with Matthew Farwell? I believe that's the way it is now. I'm not a lawyer. But what happens if Morrisy refuses? If you see that all of this criminal possible activity, that is a mess. Another yes card. This is a mouse. And you see the sixes are coming out. Sixes aren't really a good card. It's an indication that there's more to come. But this mouse, this card denotes a huge and great difficult time, and that there is huge loss and a situation that nibbles. You know how a little mouse just kind of nibbles? It's an irretrievable loss. Can't get it back. He can't get his job back. There's no way. He had to give up. He wouldn't have given up, but he was dropped like a hot potato. Hot potato Proctor. Hot potato, anyway, one potato, two potato, right? You ever play that? The ship is going to come in. However, the ship is kind of facing away from Proctor. So it's telling that there's a voyage. It's going to go away. The Seven of Diamonds, flames. It's a card all about hoping to neutralize evil. And look at the direction the flames are going in. Things are heating up because there's a burning desire to get this done and over with. I think this is going to happen probably quicker than what we think. There's the heart card. And quite frankly, I think with the Nine of Diamonds, this is going to be very, very hard. There is another number 6. Look, 666. But hey, those are numbers. Okay, they're just numbers. Doesn't mean anything. Not in the way you're thinking. The house. So the house, what house? 34 Fairview Road. I believe that 34 Fairview Road was the icing on the cake of D.A. Morrisy and Proctor. And the energy of John O'Keefe will not allow it to go on. There is exposure. How do we know? Because there's an all-seeing eye ready to show the truth. The truth is being revealed. No more building the foundation. So that's all I have for you today, my darling. I hope this has been very interesting for you. Please like and subscribe. Do me a favor and get ready for the Kelsey Fitzsimmons fundraiser Wednesday night at 6 p.m. My son and I are going to be just bringing you entertainment so we can help Kelsey. And she needs that. So stop on by. We're going to start at 6 p.m. America, New York time. That's East Coast time. Until whenever he gets tired, whenever I get tired, however that goes along. Look, let's make Kelsey, and I hope that Kelsey is watching. She probably will be. Thursday night, Help, I'm Haunted. The last one before Halloween starts at 7 p.m. Come join the fun. And then we have Halloween. You can't miss my costume. You got to come and see. Thanks for being here, my darlings. I will see you very soon. You be well and take care and be watchmen. See you soon.